Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. WWE announces that WWE Raw each and every Monday night expands to 3 hours starting in July. Also, TNA Impact Wrestling announcing that Impact will be live each and every Thursday night starting May 31st when they move to 7 p.m. PWR is working both these stories and will have full coverage on Wednesday's edition of PrimeTime.
The following is a presentation of the Pro Wrestling Report. Informative, entertaining, and real since 1998.
Coming up next, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night, right here on My 24 Milwaukee. We're going to talk about last Saturday's Ring of Honor Border Wars Internet pay-per-view, all the latest from WWE and TNA, including Part 3 of our interview with Billy Gunn and Star of the Week. This is the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night, which starts right here, right now on My 24 Milwaukee.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report, Primetime TV, the longest-running pro wrestling news program in the world, with your hosts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report, primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius and Tiberius, the alleged backyard one-time Hall of Fame draft-losing hero.
I am.
Show me the birth certificate. Show me the Carfax.
I can show you my hammer.
Give me that. You are not playing with that again. This thing hurts people. We could have a suit against us.
Be gentle. It's Thor's hammer.
Let's go to this week's WWE report. And we're going to start by talking about this past Monday's WWE Raw, where the Big Show was fired, David Hero.
How? I don't get it. It's the Big Show. It's the largest athlete on the planet.
Bigger than Yao Ming?
Just sobbing in the ring.
Well,
Big
he
Show.
was 18 years. He was hurt. He was despondent. He'd been humiliated by Johnny Ace.
Punch him. Knock him out. Don't sit there and cry.
They spent a lot of time on that segment.
Way too much.
We talked Wednesday.
Honestly, in the beginning, I thought, okay, he's going to retire. I mean, it was that real. The emotion, the tears were that real. But to watch Big Show stand in the middle of the ring for what's felt like an eternity, like one of your acceptance speeches, it was just ridiculous.
It was ridiculous for a reason, though. And we speculated as to what that reason might be on Primetime Wednesday night, so be sure to go back and check that out. But this ain't over, no matter what.
Oh,
the fat lady hasn't sang.
No, he just cried in the middle of the ring for quite a while.
He's a man.
But Big Show, come on. I mean, I can't imagine Big Show sitting in the creative meeting and they go, okay, Show, we want you to sob in the middle of the ring for like 5 minutes.
He did a great job.
He did a fantastic job. I mean, obviously, he's a movie star. You know, I mean,
well, he's been in movies.
You saw Knuckleheads.
I didn't.
I did.
And it was Knucklehead.
And
Triple H gets sued by Paul Heyman for not only breach of contract against Brock Lesnar, but for assault as well. What a great segment between those two to kick off the program this past Monday night.
You know what? I guess it makes sense. That's probably why Big Show didn't knock out.
Oh, he's afraid of
Johnny
getting
Ace.
sued.
He could have been sued also. I mean, there's tons of lawsuits going on. Paul Heyman comes back down to the ring. Him and Triple H had a great promo. Talk about two guys that I'm sure deep down don't care for each other because they're both so completely opposite. But just back and forth and back, the way those two guys were giving each other's pointers and counterpoints and shenanigans and nonsense, that was some good TV. That's when Raw, for me, on Monday night was at its best. At the pinnacle, the entire show was when those two guys were in the ring going back and forth.
Things were pretty swiftly downhill, though, after that.
Yeah, rather quickly.
Including the end segment with John Cena and John Laurinaitis. Something about a loser?
Yeah, you know, listen, John Cena, I get it. You're the poster boy. You're the guy that sells the tickets. You sell the merchandise, everything else. But it's like he was channeling his inner Sting, who was channeling his inner Jim Carrey.
Who was channeling his inner Andy Kaufman.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I mean, as much as the boys in the back hate those what chants, I mean, they hate them. Now you got John Cena saying, loser. okay, to Johnny Ace. You know on Monday Night Raw, the next Raw, when they do their in-ring promos and Johnny Ace is talking, there's going to be 15,000 people saying loser. It's going to be even more frustrating. So for as funny as it was the first or second time for John Cena, he now just did the entire what and yes, now a loser going forward.
After SmackDown last night, which obviously occurred after we did Be the Booker on Wednesday, things might appear that John Laurinaitis doesn't have any allies and doesn't have a way out of this matchup. Is there a chance that he actually does lose on Sunday and somehow or another still recovers and maintains his position in WWE on Monday?
You know what?
Because you got to have that loser chant moment, it seems. You got to give the fans that opportunity to sing na 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 na, hey goodbye on Sunday, and to shout loser at him on Monday.
But then John Cena once again shows he is superhuman. He's not vulnerable.
Well,
they need to show a chink in John Cena's armor. They do. They need to show that he's human. They need to show that he, yeah, they showed it in his match with Brock Lesnar.
He got his tail beat.
The match with The Rock doesn't count, okay? Because that's like a larger-than-life, experience or event, whatever. But John Cena needs to be hurt again, and he needs to be carted out so that Johnny Ace, and if it's going to be Big Show and Brock Lesnar, can run Monday Night Raw at least until SummerSlam. That's where the money is. And I said that last month before Extreme Rules, and I'm saying it again today. Yes, John Cena, you make tons of money for this company, but sometimes you make more when you leave and then come back.
Absent this past Monday night on Raw were Chris Jericho and Alberto Del Rio, as we saw more progression between Sheamus and Randy Orton, even Daniel Bryan and CM Punk, as we focus on the matchups for Over the Limit this Sunday on pay-per-view. But I was very surprised, David Hero, that we did not see Alberto Del Rio or Chris Jericho on SmackDown last night either.
Well, ADR is over in China right now. He's doing promotional work over there. I mean, he's
getting some DVDs?
He's a world traveler, and he's ADR. But you already knew that. I mean, ADR is a star. Chris Jericho is a star.
Doesn't matter. Don't I need to see them?
No, you don't, because they want to focus everything on Orton and Sheamus. So then if ADR or Jericho sneak in and grab the title, oh, we never saw that coming. Sometimes the element of surprise is always right in front of us, and I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow night at Over the Limit.
A tremendous matchup, though, last night between Sheamus and Randy Orton on SmackDown. Amazing matchup, better than I think anybody would have thought.
Those two guys can go. I mean, Sheamus has come so far in the last couple of years. Everyone knows Randy Orton's one of the best in-ring performers out there. He's extremely talented, but I couldn't figure out which was more orange, Sheamus's hair or Randy Orton's tan.
Santino somehow or another defeats Cody Rhodes in about 2 minutes' time last night on SmackDown.
I have had nothing to do with that. Nothing.
Hashtag save Cody.
I don't get it either. I mean, Cody looks like $1 million. He just beat the Big Show in a tables match. Santino has been like, he's the funny haha guy. He's the comic relief. He's the Eugene of this company's era right now. And he just obviously, and the thing is, he doesn't even sell a whole lot of merchandise. He has one T-shirt.
And a sock.
Oh. I bet he sells a bunch of those little Cobras, doesn't he?
WWE announces that the NXT television show is going to be taped now in Florida, Orlando to be exact, Full Sail University, just outside of Orlando, Winter Park, I believe. Great move. NXT is going to be now focused on the stars in FCW and not these competition gimmicks, if you will, that have been the highlight of the show in the past.
You know what? And that's one of the things that people have talked about inside the company, that, well, do you watch NXT? It's like a soap opera. It's just nonsense. It's shenanigans. It doesn't mean anything.
Right.
And what a great way to get this young developmental talent some face time without being on the two big shows.
Right. And the pressure that
these guys
the
have to learn to cut promos. They have to learn to get their timing down for TV. Because like Paul Heyman said, it's an entertainment company. At the end of the day, that's what World Wrestling Entertainment is. It's a TV entertainment company.
And you'll see those changes coming up soon from WWE and NXT. And they, of course, have publicly stated that their goal is indeed to get NXT back on television sometime down the road. And I think this is going to be intriguing. It gives fans a new avenue to watch these new stars and to get behind them before they are on the pressure of being on Raw or SmackDown, where they won't be given as much time to resonate with the fans as they will on this NXT broadcast. So good move from WWE. Again, Over the Limit is this Sunday on pay-per-view, and the Pro Wrestling Report, of course, will be covering it as we always do all day long at pwrshow.com and on our Twitter account at pwrshow. And I expect nothing but the success of the Nelson family this Sunday at Over the Limit because, again, I'm the winner. Chicken dinner. Still to come here, though, on the Pro Wrestling Report, we will have all of the latest from TNA Impact Wrestling, including a big announcement recently about some movement with Spike TV. Also, we're going to be taking a look back at Ring of Honor Border Wars, the internet pay-per-view offered last weekend from Ring of Honor. Part 3 of our interview with Billy Gunn is coming up next. And we'll also have David Hero's Star of the Week. Pro Wrestling Report Primetime continues right here on My 24 Milwaukee. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television right here on My 24 Milwaukee. And without further ado, let's go now to part 3 of the interview with Billy Gunn, where he has much more to say. So let's go now.
Let me just say, you've done a tremendous job with this so far.
I know I have.
Outstanding interview. I mean, the first 2 episodes, pwrshow.com in case you missed them.
Let's go now to part 3 of that exclusive interview with Billy Gunn.
You got to wonder about today's wrestling fan. Times are different. Yep. There's the era of instant gratification, not just in wrestling, but in entertainment in general and in society in general. Knowing what you know today versus what you knew back in your WWE days even, what would you say about today's wrestling fan? What's different about them?
I don't know. I have to disagree. I don't think there is. I don't really think there is. I think what it is we as wrestlers and are looking for that big. I'm getting all tied up here because I'm trying to talk and figure it out at the same time. I don't think there really is that big of a difference. I think what it is we as entertainers are trying to take it over the top. Yeah. Because I think still Wrestling 101 works. I mean, it worked everywhere I go because I didn't graduate. I stay right where I know what to do, and they get it. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes we try to fool the fans because the fans know more now than they did back then, so they think they're all smart. Right. So you do kind of swerve them a little bit. They go, oh, here, this is oh no,
and they love it.
Yes, and they do love it. But I don't think there's really that big of a difference. They're just so used to seeing people fly around, jumping out of the ceilings and all that. Yeah. So they think that they have to do that. To where you go back to there's a good guy and a bad guy. Mm-hmm. They wrestle. The bad guy cheats. The good guy comes back and beats him up, and And I think that still works. Yeah. I think we overthink it a lot. Yeah.
Totally valid. Totally valid. Speaking of overthinking, one thing I've been overthinking, especially since we've seen a bit of a nostalgia craze in World Wrestling Entertainment as of late, and obviously the Road Dogg back working with WWE in a behind-the-scenes role. How much longer will we have to wait as fans to see Billy Gunn back on national television on Mondays or Friday nights?
That's not really a question you can ask me. You have to call and ask Vince or them. You have to ask.
Do you desire it? Do you want it? Is that something you want to get back into?
I really do. I don't want to leave. I would love to go back there and in a teaching form or to help people because like I said earlier, I want everybody that's in this business to do the best that they can. I want everybody that's put on a pair of tights to do what I've done and experience that because there is no feeling like it to walk out in front of 20,000, 86,000. It doesn't. And to do what you do, what you've trained to do, what you've sweated for, what you bled for, what you go up and down the road for, to see it all pay off. And I would love to give that away. I have a lot of stuff, and it might not be the greatest stuff, but there is something that somebody could pick out of what I know. And I would love to train people, go to their training center, or just help whoever needs help that wanted it. And I don't want to leave this business not saying that I helped somebody or that they were able to get something from me. Yeah.
And you talk about learning and helping, and we're at an independent show tonight, POWW here in Illinois, and it's almost independent wrestling is almost gone. The territories, if you will, been long gone. And now a lot of people who go up into either WWE or TNA are bred in the farm. They come from FCW, or in the case of TNA, OVW. What do you think that has done to professional wrestling? Has it not necessarily helped it or hurt it, but has it has clearly evolved the talent that is available, because you don't have that opportunity at shows like this to hone your skills night in and night out across the country. But what impact do you think it's had on the business overall, just the change in the independent wrestling scene and the difficulty to sustain that business in a lot of markets in this country?
I really don't know how to answer that. I think what it is the FCW and OVW. I think what they're doing is they're getting if they hear of somebody that's good, they get them. So I don't think it's so much that they're bred and done in those two farm leagues, if you want to put that, farm leagues. I think what they do is they do still find guys that are, you don't just wake up one morning and FCW call you and go, hey, we hear you want to be a wrestler, come, we'll pay you, come down here and train. Unless you're just...
So it's not the power plant?
No. If you're 7 foot and 500 pounds ripped to the gills, hey, you want to wrestle?
I've heard that line before.
But I think now they do have eyes. They've got eyes. They've got ears everywhere. So if they hear somebody that's doing good or they think has potential, they just grab them and stick them there.
Right.
They grab them, put them there. So there is a use for independent wrestling. There, one is for the people, the fans, and two is for guys to hone in their skills a little bit. Okay, I've been taught this. Let me go out and try to do it in front of people. And then if they've got something, then the farm leagues grab them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's everybody's born and bred in the farm leagues. I think this will always be around. Independence will always be around because that's what they do. They get trained, then they call their cousin and they let them come work at their show, and then they do enough of them. They go, hey, this kid's got something. Okay, boom, they stick him in there. Yeah. Whether you see him ever again is another thing, but at least they're there. Yeah.
Well, Billy Gunn, always a pleasure talking to you. We had fun at the Shenanigans Party in Miami as part of WrestleMania weekend. Thank you for being a part of that. And hopefully we'll talk to you again soon. It's always great chatting with you. Thank you so much, Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, ladies and gentlemen, here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
Welcome back. Want to thank Billy Gunn. A great series of discussions with him. And it's really great, as we've talked about, Billy Gunn, he's cleaned his life up. He's had some great conversations as of late. He's in a great place in his life.
He's so happy.
Exactly.
And it's not phony. What you see with Billy Gunn in this 3-trilogy interview set, that is Billy Gunn.
Oh, a trilogy.
It's a trilogy.
Can we do a prequel?
We're going to have to, because that's what happens after a trilogy. So we'll have to get him as Rockabilly.
You think the Honky Tonk Man's going to be available? That's the interview I want to get next. I want to talk to Wayne Ferris, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
So maybe he'll hit you upside the head with the guitar.
No, you'll have to have a 7-second delay for every...
He'll be fine. I'll coach him through it.
Okay, all right. We'll effort that for you.
Again, thanks to Billy Gunn. And right now it's time for this week's Star of the Week. So now let's go on over to David Hero.
My turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
Talk,
Star
finally.
of the Week.
This week's PWR Star of the Week is the internet darling, your new Ring of Honor heavyweight champion, Kevin Steen.
Really? You did that?
Finally.
Wow.
Finally, after all these months and weeks and minutes and hours and seconds of build-up, Kevin Steen going out there and being the bully of Ring of Honor Wrestling, he fulfills his prophecy.
Prophecy, not destiny. Good choice there. Good.
Well, yeah, he kept saying he's going to do it.
Yeah.
He is your new Ring of Honor heavyweight champion. Great match. Kevin Steen shocked the world, I guess you could say, by going in there and beating the heavily favored Ring of Honor champion. And congratulations, Kevin Steen, PWR Show, Star of the Week.
Wow. Your first Ring of Honor Star of the Week. That's impressive, David Hero. I didn't realize you had such range.
Oh, absolutely. I'm all over the place.
Coming up next, or still to come rather, here on the Pro Wrestling Report, we're going to talk about Ring of Honor's Border Wars, the pay-per-view from this past Saturday night, and some strategy on some things that Ring of Honor may need to consider doing. Also, we'll have our TNA report. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time right here on My 24 Milwaukee. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Hero, and it's time to go into this week's ROH report. Ring of Honor, of course, presented...
Oops. Sorry.
What are you doing?
Well, you took away my hammer, and,
Do you have carpal tunnel?
No, I was talking to Al Snow. He's like my Tony Stark of the Super Friends.
I'll deal with this.
And he gave me a new gimmick that I can play with here because he took away the hammer. So, all right, go ahead. I'm trying to figure this whole thing out.
I can't believe that here on this broadcast television station you bring out toys.
These are
Is
weapons.
this a game to you?
These are weapons. These aren't toys.
It's a toy. It's clearly a toy.
Not at all. It has missiles.
Iron Man didn't wear that.
No, he had a whole bodysuit.
Ring of Honor, ladies and gentlemen, Border Wars on pay-per-view, internet pay-per-view this past Saturday night. Some challenges, though. As you said in your Star of the Week, brand new Ring of Honor champion in Kevin Steen defeating Davey Richards. However, it was noteworthy that the pay-per-view was not available to those who purchased it due to some login problems on the website for the first hour.
How frustrating could that have been? This is a pay-per-view
For everybody.
that Ring of Honor was been building up for quite a while. They're finally getting Kevin Steen his title match he's been chasing. And, no one can log in. No one can watch it except for, a couple hundred?
Yeah, after they touted that they had changed pay-per-view vendors, it will now be on ringofhonorwrestling.com. Challenges should not be there. And then to have this, quite frankly, critical failure immediately is
and you know what?
a problem.
I promoted tons of shows over the years, lots of shows. I can't imagine the frustration because you're banking on that extra money to come in, and now it's non-existent, not even there. Hopefully they had insurance to cover that.
Well, not WWE, Ring of Honor COO Joe Koff said that the problem with Border Wars, that, and I quote, it was the highest of highs and lowest of lows.
Blame Canada.
It was in Toronto.
Right? I blame Arda Ocal. He was there. I bet he screwed the whole thing.
Jimmy Corderas refereed on that.
You know what? One of those two guys, I'm willing to bet they tripped over a cord and knocked the whole thing out.
Again, the Make Good was a free copy of Best in the World. However, Joe Koff saying that they don't have many refunds to make because replay purchases were very strong Sunday after the pay-per-view. They said they at least had about 2,000 people order it, which is strong for Ring of Honor, especially when you look at
$15 a crack.
Absolutely,
That's a hell of a payday.
Couple $20,000 or so, $30,000 or so for them. But Joe Koff had more to say about whether or not their pay-per-view strategy is accurate. Should they go to a traditional pay-per-view model over an internet pay-per-view model? And he said it would not be economically feasible at this time.
Of course, but he would know better than I would, but eventually they're going to have to go on regular pay-per-view.
They've got the opportunity to put these special broadcasts on all their stations all over the country. Is that a better option than internet pay-per-view?
Well, yeah, I mean, you mentioned earlier maybe they should show that pay-per-view bits and pieces over their TV for the next couple of weeks.
Treat it like a Saturday night's main event or a Clash of the Champions or something.
What better way to get a stronger Ring of Honor audience than to take some of those key matches that had Rhino, that had Fit Finley, that had Kevin Steen's title win, the world's greatest tag team, put those recognizable faces on their TV to get that audience a little bit stronger and more familiar with their product.
Well, we wish the best, of course, to Ring of Honor. And as you know, Ring of Honor comes to Milwaukee on July 14th. Turner Hall is the location. More information in the weeks to come, but you can get tickets for that at tickets.com right now. Let's go to this week's TNA report, ladies and gentlemen. And TNA with a big announcement last week. They have partnered with Bellator, a mixed martial arts company, and that they're going to be working specifically with King Mo. Does this mean anything, David Hero?
He's back?
Not Mabel and Mo.
It's not.
It was King Mabel. It was King Mabel.
You know what? I thought it was Mo and Mabel and Oscar.
No.
I was going to say, that's not really
and please don't let me think back to SummerSlam 95.
Okay. You know what? King Mo, the timing couldn't have been worse.
Let's be honest.
It's almost like they're copying Brock Lesnar coming into the company. And I don't think TNA Impact Championship Wrestling right now needs King Mo. I think that they have enough talent right now to sustain at least until Bound for Glory. They have enough stuff they can do. Why should King Mo come in and beat some of their top stars because he's an MMA fighter?
It's just in the way.
He will. And you know what?
And
I hope they prove me wrong, but I don't know if they can.
They made a big deal out of it. Obviously, Spike TV excited. You saw Dixie Carter and King Mo on the MMA
They made a
Uncensored
big deal out of
show.
it on Spike TV because Spike TV is also in bed with MMA.
Right.
They have their own programming and whatnot.
Right.
Now they can cross-promote both shows. But is King Mo the answer for TNA Impact Wrestling?
The answer seemingly are such stars as Austin Aries and Bully Ray and Bobby Roode and Ken Anderson and Jeff Hardy and Kurt Angle and AJ Styles and Kazarian and Daniels, all who shined last Sunday at Sacrifice.
Oops, sorry. It's on the fritz. Anyways, those guys are fantastic. Let them be the stars. That's where the money is. Ken Anderson, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Kurt Angle, even Kaz and Danielson. All those guys did their work. Great pay-per-view. Like I said, I'm sure King Mo's talented. I'm sure he's going to get some crossover appeal. He might get him on ESPN. But let's not forget, they've had other sports athletes on their show get them on ESPN and did not move the dial one bit.
We'll see what happens. Of course, we wish the best to TNA. And again, you can't fault them for trying
Get
stuff.
this thing off. It's stuck.
That's.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, my eye!
You just.
Sorry. Oh, that's the other one. Here.
As Andy gets medical attention, ladies and gentlemen, that has been this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Television. You broke a window and everything. You're gonna have some splaining to do here when the powers that be find out about this. We'll see you Sunday for our coverage of WWE Over the Limit, and then of course Monday night on the Meltdown. For that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.